Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, December 9th, and this is the beginning of the Couch and Keyboard podcast. I wanted to bring two things that I really enjoy, sports and esports, and kind of push them all together to have a nice central place of discussion about all these different competitions. And I might mix a couple other things here and there, but that's kind of the idea where you have your couch where you're might be watching sports and keyboard where you're on your computer, maybe even playing the games as well. So yeah, I just wanted to mix those things together, and this is the first episode. I just wanted to do it solo. I will probably try and get some people on to help out, but I will go through it. I picked 6 different topics for sports and esports. I'll go through some I know more than others, but just kind of go through, and I will also try to mix it up a little bit next time. I'm going to try to have this be weekly. So let's go ahead and get started. So the NFL is huge. It is so popular. Viewership has been crazy. I've been paying attention a lot pretty much since last year. I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm a Panthers, Hornets, Hurricanes fan, also like UNC for college basketball, etc. But yeah, so I've been paying a lot of attention, and the playoff race is really heating up. So there's about 4 games left for each team, just a few more weeks left, and it is crazy. So starting with the AFC, it is wild. Obviously, if you've been paying attention, the AFC has seemed to be stronger overall at the top, specifically with the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Lions. However, we might not see any of those in the playoffs. Or did I say Lions? Excuse me. The Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. My bad. Got a little mixed up. So, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. However, there's a chance that neither of them will make the playoffs. Bills have a good shot, being 9-4. It's looking good. However, both the Ravens and the Chiefs have a negative record right now. And Chargers just won yesterday against the Eagles, which means it is very, very challenging for the Chiefs to make it. They have to win out. They have to win all the rest of their games, and they have to hope for a bunch of other teams to lose. There's only 7 spots, and guaranteed to have 1 from every division. So obviously, Patriots are looking really good. Broncos are looking really good. There's a chance they could fall. They're only 2 games ahead. But the odds are, as long as they win 1 or 2 games, they're probably going to stay in the lead. AFC South is very close. 3 teams all within a game of each other. Colts had a really strong start. Daniel Jones having that injury. It's a little tough. Texans have been doing pretty good. Texas had a decent run last year with C.J. Stroud. Jaguars kind of came out of nowhere. I know Trevor Lawrence and Travis Hunter had really good college careers. It's seeming like things are really working together. And then you have the AFC North, which in the past has seemed to be a fairly strong division. Currently, they have one of the lowest overall records in the NFL. My wife is a Steelers fan, so I've been keeping up. Ravens used to be my second favorite team. I've kind of fallen away from supporting them as much, being solo Panthers. But yeah, so clutched out last week with the Steelers and Ravens. The Steelers barely beat the Ravens, and they play them again, so that's going to be very important. The Bengals had a very close loss to the Bills. Joe Burrow had that really long injury, and he's just coming back, and it might be too little too late. Last year, the Bengals missed out partially due to, defense having some issues with high-scoring games. Now it was a problem with you don't have your main quarterback in, so it's even hard to put up points. They had Joe Flacco a little bit, and, shout-outs to him. He did great, especially for his age. But Bengals, it's very unlikely. You have to pretty much hope that the Ravens beat the Steelers, and you have to win out, and you have to hope that they lose a bunch of their other games. There's a chance, but it is very challenging. For this, the Dolphins are technically still in it, but it is very, very challenging. Being at a negative record with so few games left is really challenging to get in. So there's going to be 7 teams that make it in. Almost certainly, we're not going to see any AFC North wildcard spots. It's probably just going to be either the Steelers, Ravens, or Bengals in that order of likelihood. It's looking like Patriots are going to get the division up here. Bills will probably get wild card. There's still a chance, but it's looking very solid for the Patriots. This is wide open, completely wide open. Jaguars, Texans, and Colts are super close. Jaguars are looking good, but I could see Texans, winning out. They're playing well. Broncos have a strong lead. Chargers not doing too bad. Chiefs, they're very behind. I mean, if you look at this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that are completely eliminated. Bengals have it tough. They're not going to be a wild card chance. So let's say there's 6 spots for these 3 divisions. Dolphins probably not. They have the same record as the Chiefs, but they just have been less put together. You have 1, 2 right here, Patriots, Bills. You have 3, 4, 5 with these 3, and then 6. Chargers have probably a better chance than the loser of Texans, Colts, the 3rd place. But you have 7 teams in prime position for 6 spots, and then you're 2 games back from the last place of that. So that is very, very challenging. It is, I think it was an 8% chance before the Chargers won. That's tough. That's very tough. You have to win out. You have to hope for probably the Chargers to lose out, because I think these 2 play again. And so it's very unlikely you're going to beat both the Texans and Colts. You're probably not going to beat the Bills. It's looking so unlikely. I mean, being tied for what? In records, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're tied for 9th place. And it's not that close. So it's looking like the Chiefs will not make it. The Ravens have a better chance because of their division, but it's not looking good for them. Bills, again, of those 3, have the highest likelihood, but it's still tough. They still have to. I would say they have to trade their games, go 2-2, and then they'll be solidly there. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. The AFC is looking very top heavy. Yeah, there's definitely some spread out, but I mean Broncos and Patriots. AFC South is really has a lot of depth there. It's looking like they are a more competitive conference overall. NFC is what I have been paying a lot of attention to because of the Panthers, and that's been really up and down. So the best team is 10-3, which 2 of them, Rams and Seahawks, not as far away but not crazy ahead. It's just 1 game less than 11-2, but this is also really stacked. You have, I think Falcons were eliminated. You have Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, Giants, and Commanders are eliminated. So that's 11 teams. Vikings, it's looking tough. The NFC North is proving to be a difficult division in the regular season. I know last playoffs, the NFC North did not do that great, but it's looking to be pretty stacked, where the Packers have been solid. Jordan Love and the Packers beat the Bears. Lions are still good, but it's just going to be very challenging to make it in. NFC South and AFC North are very similar. My wife and I, with our Steelers and Panthers, kind of relate in that way, where it's like, look, we got to win the division because it is so difficult to get in if you don't. Panthers and Buccaneers are kind of like the Steelers and Ravens, where they play twice in the end of the season. Steelers and Ravens already played once. It's not impossible for the Panthers to make it in. If they beat the Buccaneers, beat the Saints, that's really good. They've also played the Seahawks. That's going to be tough. They beat the Rams. That was crazy. They beat the Packers. But it is going to be challenging to keep that up again. They also lost to the 49ers. They lost to the Saints. It's been kind of up and down, But it's looking good. I definitely think they have a solid shot, better than last year where it was bad. Um, a late turnaround at the end of the season took the Chiefs close that one game, but it was not looking great for the first 2/3 of that season, and it's been turning around. So it's been cool to see. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I won't be disappointed. I think the Panthers have been doing a lot of things good. McMillan's been really good. Rico Dowdle. It's been cool to see, and of course Bryce Young has been clutching up, surprising some people. Now we have. I mentioned that there's 5 teams that are eliminated. So 11 teams gunning for 7 spots. Obviously, you have similar with NFC South going to have 1, and probably not going to have a wild card spot from there. The Vikings have it tough. They just had a pretty difficult schedule. They have J.J. McCarthy as a rookie quarterback, and it is tough. Lions also not in a great position. Sorry, that's my dryer going off. You have Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all having amazing records right now. Twice as many wins than their losses, more so than that. That's really impressive. We're probably going to see all 3 of these teams make it in. Then you have Eagles. It's going to be hard for the Cowboys to make it in. Not terrible. They've been doing really good recently. Where they beat I'm pretty sure they beat the Eagles and Chiefs like back to back. That's really impressive. Like good stuff there. I'd say this is probably a little bit less competitive than the AFC in terms of the playoff race, but it's still close. It's not by much. Eagles have 1. NFC North, you got 3 right here. NFC South probably 1, and then Rams, Seahawks, 49ers with 3 right there. So that's 8 for 7 spots. So it's likely that it's looking like the Lions will make it in, which is crazy because they have a better record than the NFC South and tied for the best of the NFC East with the Eagles. So it's only one more time. It'll go off. But that's tough for the Lions. And Bears are nervous. I know I was watching part of my take, and Big Cat was like, dude, there's no guarantee that we make it in. Lions could win out, and that's going to make it tough. Packers very slightly have that lead with that tie, better than a loss. So if they do the same, they're going to be worse than the Packers. You're only 1 game up from the Lions. Wild card, they're at a disadvantage because you have 10-3, 10-3, 9-4 at the NFC East with the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. That is just that's tough. It's going to be very competitive. Again, NFC South, Panthers and Buccaneers both being 7-6. You almost have to win that division. It is very challenging because you have so many divisional games, and these teams have just been strong overall. So, if you're an Eagles fan, feels good. Technically not impossible for the Cowboys to just win out and you lose. That would be pretty crazy if the Eagles just completely fall apart. Last night wasn't great. 4 interceptions and a fumble from Jalen Hurts. That was kind of like what was it? Sam Darnold? No, Matthew Stafford for the Rams, where they were like, okay, this quarterback's been so consistent, so few turnovers, and then right when they're making a big deal out of that, turnover. And even more so with the Eagles. The Chargers didn't even do that great either. The O-line was having tough times. Justin Herbert getting sacked and giving up a fumble, and that was just really, I don't want to say sloppy game, but definitely good defense rather than the offense. So I think it's going to be very challenging for some of these teams to make it in. If you're NFC East, you feel pretty good. Eagles have a decent lead there. NFC South, it's like, look, you know your job. You have to beat your divisional rival twice. Like that is going to be the best chance of helping your case pretty much. If you trade, then there's a lot of stuff in the air. If you win 2, and then against your divisional rival, the Buccaneers and Panthers, I'm pretty sure you guaranteed make it in, even if they win the other two and you lose your other two because you have that head to head. So those games were going to be super important. Hoping my Panthers pull through, but if not, this has still been a success. The whole thing with Meow Mix and then the Carolina guy with the rapping. It's been cool. It's been fun. Panthers Twitter has been hilarious. It's been a cool season. So it's been really cool to be involved instead of just watching from afar with seeing how the Commanders had a good run, NFC North was strong in the regular season, and Eagles came out not out of nowhere, but like really clutched up and destroyed the Super Bowl. Like, it's cool to be involved. The team I grew up 20 minutes from is now, in those conversations. They're a good football team. Now we have the other big football league in America, college football. Now that's something that has been very tricky. I have been big on Smash tournaments. I'll get to that in a little bit. But a lot of times we do rankings, and there's a objective data but subjective interpretation, where you have these things that have happened and you're trying to make sense of, is this a good win? Is this a bad loss? This is like that on steroids. Like, wow, it is challenging because you have such little data, and almost all the games are predetermined. So a team can do the best as possible, but too bad your schedule wasn't strong enough, you get screwed over. Or you have one or two bad games and that's it. You can't win out of that. That is tough. That is brutal. Now, I am very, very pleased that it's gone from 4 to 12, the playoff size. That is fantastic. I don't want to understate how important that is. It used to be 2, where you just pick 2 and those are it. And then, what was it? I forget if it was either Oregon State or Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State. They kind of got screwed over that time. Then with 4, Florida State kind of got screwed over. They went undefeated, but because of an injury, they were perceived to not be as good, which, yeah, is true, but that's only like hindsight 2020. Like, they could have still done well. And you had those 5 major conferences, which Pac-12 getting kind of eroded away made it to where there's now 4. But you have a lot of teams that are in their own little, ponds or lakes, if they're big enough, I guess. And the sizes of the fish is hard to perceive. I remember early in Smash, there was a really big tournament, and there was people coming from Europe. And this Wario player was really good, but then this guy is like, okay, are we going to just go to Antarctica and find the best penguin and seed him the highest because he's won all of his stuff? Turns out Gluto was really good. But, Glutony, the Wario main from France. But it was like, it's difficult if you don't have a lot of crossover. Now, there's been a little bit here and there, but, I mean, Ohio State and Indiana have been very strong, but they have limited SEC competitors. SEC, I think people agree, is the deepest conference, but it also people assume they're just the best top to bottom. I think that the middle and close to the top of the SEC is very strong. Makes sense why SEC has the most teams in the bracket, but it is very challenging, and so I'm very curious to see how that works out. Now, ACC has been the conference that I've known the most. Specifically for basketball, I went to Liberty, my dad went to UNC, my granddad went to Auburn. So I kind of lean towards those 3 teams. Auburn usually a better football team, although basketball they've been good. I usually root for UNC for basketball and Liberty. Whatever happens, happens. It's been a little rough. But it is difficult for the ACC to really have much to stand on. I mean, Clemson used to be good. Florida State had some good years, but it's been up and down. We have Miami and UVA, and then Duke was up there with 5 losses. I really don't get that. I don't get why they decided, and I understand they were being, if they switched it out last second because they felt like it, that sucks for Duke. UNC fan, I don't love Duke, but I think I would feel empathy there where they just decided it. I would feel like a Florida State move where They just looked at something and changed their precedent because they felt like it. It's challenging to figure that out. I think that there could be some more dynamic in numbers, because I know people were like, okay, it's hard to fill out the 12 last time. This time, the 12 doesn't feel big enough. So I think that you could open that up a little bit, or even have more play-in matches. I think that would be very helpful. Because a third place team in a conference, what do? Like, they're good. Most of the third place teams in this conference, or even BYU getting second, they lost to the same team twice, and people agree Texas Tech is pretty good. They don't have a lot to go off of. And I agree with JMU getting in. I live in Virginia. I'm pretty close to JMU and UVA, less than 2 hours away from both of them. And I'm glad that one of them got in personally. I know people at those two schools, at Liberty, at Virginia Tech. I think Virginia football has a lot of potential. And I'm glad that there is one representation. I feel like it's a weird system. And then Miami getting in, I don't love Notre Dame. I think that them not being in the bowl game is a little silly. But bowl games a lot of times don't really matter. I think that the bracket is I love how college basketball is the tournament is what you care about. Yeah, NIT is cool. You have other little things here and there. You have tournaments throughout the regular season of invitationals where you have it segmented out, where there's tiebreakers and then the championship as well. I think that's cool. Obviously, we don't have nearly as much data for college football. They do 13 games. College basketball, they do 30. And that's not even the difference between NFL and NBA is crazy, 17 to 82. Huge difference. So I understand you can't completely treat them the same. But the conference structure is challenging because you don't get a full idea of the conference. These schedules are so locked in, especially you have teams that are not that close to each other. I'm sorry, Liberty, why are you playing New Mexico State? Why are you playing them all the time? Come on, play a JMU, play they did this year, and that was cool. Play a UVA, play a Virginia Tech, which we do sometimes. My sister-in-law went to Penn State. Liberty and Penn State have never played, and they're 4 hours apart. Maybe 5 or 6. But it is frustrating where you don't have these local matchups. That helps the people where they don't have to travel like crazy to go see it, your team play. You're okay, I can't feasibly go to New Mexico right now. I could drive a few hours. That's fine with me. You're making it so much better for these local people, the in-person experience, which is a huge deal in college. The stadiums are huge. The college atmosphere is awesome. I'm kind of going in tangents here, but the decision for the playoffs, I agree with some of them. I think it's difficult. There was also another Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M. It's a little strange why Alabama got in. It's a diet due situation, because I don't think they were necessarily punished for losing that game, because Georgia's really good. But it's a little confusing. Why is your second best team in this not in the top 2 conference championship? I don't know. I think that there should be. I get the need for having outside of conference games. I think that's cool. I think that I mentioned earlier, having those crossovers between conferences is important. I like that, to see that. I think it's important. I think there's closer teams that definitely could play, that would help local people attend their school and want to support that. I think they could be a little closer to home. But I understand that you want to make sure that you have matches that are useful, games that are useful, because sometimes there's redundant data to where it's I didn't learn much because they won, the expected team won, so okay, it's more so okay, did the expected team not to win lost in the big upset, and then oh shoot, it's crazy. Like losses matter a lot in this. It's like a 3-loss school making it in is surprising. Uh, so it is difficult. I don't really like how Tulane was considered above JMU, but I think the conferences are difficult. I remember when Liberty got in to that bowl game and got destroyed by Oregon. It's like, why are we giving, 1,000-man schools like our schedule priority and then expecting that we're all that? Like, yeah, it's fun to go to a game and win. I don't deny that people don't always care about being, oh, we're not top 25, we're actually, kind of lower, and we just play the, like, I understand that wanting to feel a win is fun for the players, for the fans, for everyone. I get it. But I think you need to schedule, or at least have a dynamic schedule, where it's like, look, if you're in playoff contention, you play against other playoff teams. Because, playing against what? Like JMU's schedule did not really allow them to do better. Like, yeah, they did good, but there's only so much. Like, they were in a small pond. Now, if you want to get into metaphors, you connect the ponds by rivers, lakes, whatever, bodies of water. But if you have more potential for that crossover later in the season, I think that's super important. I think you should start with more conference games earlier on in the season, and then you can have more stuff. Kind of like how Swiss pools, which I'll get to with some brackets, how they do it. You have teams that are in contention. They're gonna play for things that mean more, and then if teams are out of it, they don't have to keep getting stomped. They can play against other teams that have done worse, and you kind of have that bowl game. Okay, at least we finished strong. Like, the only teams that finish on a win are the winners, and then the teams that don't make the playoffs. That might win a bowl game, or for the NFL, the teams that win their last week but don't make it in. So it's kind of interesting, that disparity where the excellence of the playoffs, and then you have the very top, and then people that weren't good enough to make the playoffs. So I understand that bowl games are good in that way. And so I think you can leverage the season to be more likely to give better data, more meaningful data. Obviously, I'm not saying play 20 games, because we're going to have CTE going everywhere if you play them too much. I get it. But make it matter. Because there's certain times, like conference championships are helpful, but sometimes it's not always that meaningful. There's a chance that if BYU wins, Texas Tech makes it in anyway, and it's just weird. I understand why a lot of people are confused and don't like the system. There's over 100 teams. It is difficult. I'm not saying that the people suck at their jobs, the committee. I'm not saying that. It's a challenging job. The decision to switch Miami and Notre Dame last second, I think Miami should have been ahead either way. I know the head-to-head is not everything, but it was close enough to where I think you should go with whoever won. But why did they switch it? I understand that being really frustrating. Notre Dame had that really good season last year. I understand the frustration, and I don't agree with the decision, but it is frustrating. And it's just so up in the air that you don't know. Stuff feels out of your control that should be in your control. So I hope that front offices of schools give themselves a better chance to have that meaningful data. And I think if that means that you open up the season a little bit, or you structure things to where you're kind of forcing, the NCAA is forcing teams to have these games that matter. I understand that the small programs getting funded are very helpful for the ecosystem, where they get the tickets, they get potentially paid by the other college. I get that, but I think there's better ways of going about it. I certainly think that there are other things that you can do to be able to, and even if it means you add one extra game, I think that can be helpful. You already have some teams playing an extra game, so give another meaningful game where you're like, okay, like I saw Gruden. He had these ideas of these play-in matches. I didn't agree with every single one, but I do think it makes sense. Don't give the worst teams of the conferences a bye week, or not a bye in this, but a rest week. Like while some teams like Georgia, Alabama, like Indiana, Ohio State, they didn't have rest. Now some of them have rest now, but I think about Alabama. They just came off of they have a little bit of a break with December 19th, but I do think like if you have that week available, like play some games, make it matter. If there's two teams close enough, maybe you don't have Miami Notre Dame. Maybe you have Miami. I know Alabama was in there. I don't think Alabama should have been in there. I think it should have been like Ole Miss or Oklahoma, or A&M. Like have that like okay Notre Dame, Alabama. Have Miami and Vanderbilt. Like I have those teams have another chance to prove themselves instead of like we did all we could, we won out, but it doesn't matter because 2 months ago our season was already kaput. So I definitely think there's a lot of things you can do better. But I'm really excited. I think it going to 12 is amazing because if you only have these four, all this work, or you even get rid of some of these where Ohio State doesn't get in because even though they're potentially the second best team in the country, that's frustrating. I think having the second biggest fish in a big conference be able to prove themselves is awesome. And I mean, we saw so many upsets in the second round last time. So I think it's really cool. And it's definitely better, but there's more things that could be improved. Now, we have MLB. I think that, first of all, last year's playoffs were fantastic. I guess earlier this year. But the last season's playoffs were great. I had a lot of fun watching them. I played baseball for 10 years growing up. The very first team I played for was the Red Sox. North Carolina doesn't have a team for Red Sox compared to the other three main sports. So I just picked the Red Sox because that was my first Little League team. And then Red Sox started doing great. I was kind of young for 2004. But 2007, I knew so much about that team. I could spout off so many players. Big Papi, Manny Ramirez. They traded Nomar Garciaparra to the Dodgers earlier. They had Kevin Youkilis, Dustin Pedroia, Josh Beckett, Jonathan Papelbon, John Lester. You had Tim Wakefield. You had Coco Crisp, Jacoby Ellsbury. A lot of really fun players there. I don't know as much about the team. I've been a little bit more casual. I know that the Red Sox pitching was doing pretty good, but I haven't been as attached to the Red Sox. I've been more so a overall spectator for the league. And the Dodgers have been interesting because LA is such a huge part of culture to where it's like, oh, if you watch something, LA is probably involved, and you might kind of like the Lakers, like the Dodgers. Football a little less. I feel like it's a little bit less stand out-ish, like for the cultural part of it. But Dodgers and Lakers are a huge part of that, and so seeing Shohei Ohtani go off against the Brewers, man, that was cool. Also seeing the Mariners. I remember I was like, dang, the Mariners had so many cool players. Ken Griffey, Ichiro, Edgar Martinez. They had A-Rod at one point. I was watching, I forget what video, the title and channel, but the Mariners have had so many cool players. They had Randy Johnson at one point, and they haven't been able to turn that into a World Series appearance. They got so close. I was, especially Cal Raleigh is from around my hometown, not super close, but the western half of North Carolina. That's cool. And I was really hoping that you would either get MVP or they would win, and they barely lost out. Vladimir Guerrero was a really cool player back in the day, so seeing Vladdy and also seeing David Ortiz, Big Papi kind of rub it in Jeter and A-Rod's face a little bit. That was funny. Felt a little bad, but it's funny. I do think that it was really exciting. But I know that in the off season, we have baseball's in a unique place where there's not necessarily there's a luxury tax, but there's not it's not harsh enough to where teams feel the need to have kind of this where they feel penalized. You would rather eat that and just kind of be able to win. I mean, the deference of Shohei's contract, I think, was pretty whack. But if you outlaw it now, that means they get away with it, but no one else does. So they're in a tough position. Juan Soto getting that huge, massive contract is pretty crazy. You have other teams like Red Sox are a little bit low on this list, unfortunately, with the difference. This is 2024. It's potentially different, but I know like the White Sox, the Pirates, like some of these teams have been seen to be very, very cheap. And I think that it's important to put money back into the team. You don't have that salary cap. Like, yeah, you have a luxury tax, but clearly that's not causing teams enough, like, desire to, control it. Like, for NBA, you have, like, teams are going to have to abide by that. And, I mean, there's been controversies of teams that have gone around it to try and get out because it is very extreme. And I think that's helpful. It can be sometimes difficult for the worst teams if they don't have more money to offer. But some of these worst teams are just cheaper anyway. They don't have that money to offer in general. And especially like the necessity for a pretty deep roster for these teams. Basketball is such like so few players per team, while football and baseball you need a lot of players. And you have to have depth because if you have an injury, you might be out of luck. And so I do think that teams putting in money to try and win is good. You've seen some owners that they kind of coast, where they are not in it for the love of the game. Which I mean, it's all profitable. I saw something like baseball's still the third biggest industry. People say it's dying. It's huge. Like it is huge. International markets are helpful as well, but it is still really, really big. And so I think that teams should be held accountable. I think you can accuse the Dodgers, the Yankees, even the Blue Jays, Mets. Like some of these teams have been paying for their paying a lot for their teams. But it's like they want to win. They're not just coasting. I think it's good that they want to. I guess this is the revenue. This is the payroll. You have Dodgers. You have and he's not quite as much. Like the Dodgers are paying a ton of money for their team. But hey, shouldn't you want to win? Like it makes sense. I understand. Like I think the individuals of the Dodgers are easier to root for than the conglomerate. I think like Freddie Freeman's awesome. Shohei Ohtani is one of a kind player. Even like Yamamoto and Mookie Betts. Like you've had these players that are Will Smith was doing good. Like it's been interesting, and it's like, man, I don't hate him, but you don't like the whole of the Dodgers based off of like usually like the Chiefs or Patriots or anyone that's been winning a long time. You want to see someone else win. Like it gets a dynasty becomes annoying to the rest of the league. So I get it, but I mean if a team is doing what is allowed and trying to win games, I don't think that's worthy of like negative opinions. I think that it makes sense what they're doing. The Red Sox are kind of low on this list. They should put more money into the team. They didn't make the playoffs. They didn't make it that far. So I think that, I mean, and the AL East is really stacked. That's been a stacked division for a long time. And so I think that, like, hey, have that desire to compete with excellence and to get farther. The Red Sox still have the most in the 21st century, but it's been a while. And most of those were earlier on. So, try and get it back. But I think it's been really cool. Baseball's had its resurgence. It's been really exciting. I think they've adjusted, and they're trying to keep it relevant. Seems a little bit of a stretch, but like they are trying to adjust to the times to make sure that they are receiving the attention and seen as a priority. I think that playoff baseball is awesome. I think having a non-clock based sport is really healthy. I think that clock can ruin a lot of the momentum and excitement of a game because it's over. there's nothing they can do. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, you can still win it. I think that's super exciting. I think the format of the game allows for excitement. Regular season obviously is going to be kind of a slog, but I do really like the playoffs, and I'm hoping the Red Sox make it back in, and the playoffs are going to be really exciting, and we'll see how it goes. I understand the desire to not have less games because you have all these records, and you don't want to harm your players from getting those records. Like you have home run records. I guess batting average is not really affected by that, but like amount of strikeouts per season, like these achievements of amount of hits per season, amount of steals per season. Like if you lessen the games, you harm the player's ability to get those those milestones. So I get it, but I do think that there can be adjustments there. Overall, baseball was really exciting last year. I mean, those games were crazy, man. Like that was so cool. Seeing comebacks and craziness and like really cool. So I'm excited for the future of baseball. I'm kind of back on board with baseball again, and it feels good. I really have been enjoying it. NBA. Now, culturally, NBA is like the players themselves have so much impact. Like, it's really fun to be a part of that discussion with these players. And it's crazy. Like, I mean, you got like Jimmy High Roller, you got Goat, you got Rusty Buckets, like these channels I've been watching. It's like it's so cool to be a part of this, and I remember I started getting into basketball more. I played a some. I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'6", so I played a some. I wasn't that good, but like being more aware of like Steph Curry was from my hometown. He's from the Charlotte area. I am as well. So seeing him at Davidson, then get into the league and start going crazy, really cool, really cool. And unfortunately, Charlotte's been bad for a long time. I was a fan back. I'll put my hat up another time in the back. I had to take them down, but like my pennants and team memorabilia. But Charlotte's been a little rough. It's turning around now. Colin Knueppel has been really good. Kalkbrenner not been bad either. LaMelo Ball I think is overhated. I think that he definitely has a ton of potential. He's matured. He got LeVar Ball going back, man. He was very hated, but his sons are good at basketball. That's for sure. But I mean, I think that the West has been really like I do like the division better, like having fewer potential, like to where you have the AFC North, NFC South for the NFL. I think having it just in 2 sections is better. However, the West is just so good. Like the West is just so stacked. Thunder are 23-1, man. Like, what is going on here? Like, and they have more draft picks coming up too. The worse the Clippers do, the better that draft pick is, and they're in 14th place out of 15. Like, Thunder is a problem, man. I was rooting for the Pacers just because, like, I think the Thunder's going to be back. I don't think the Pacers are going to be back. Sure enough, Pacers are starting kind of rough, especially due to Halliburton's injury. But I mean, the West is just so cool. Like I know, like there's been some teams that have been in kind of under fire, hot water, whatever you want to say. Suns and Mavericks, especially. Suns had those 3 huge contracts with Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal, and they made changes. They only have Devin Booker now, and they got some other players, and they're turning it around. I mean, the fact that they had these huge contracts and didn't even make the play-in was, I think, pretty embarrassing for them, especially because they were, like, on paper, you would think they were a worse team that made it to the finals a few years ago. They have those potential. I mean, I think they didn't have enough bigs to really, like, box out, and when they're not shooting good, then they lose. Speaking of, that's kind of how the Warriors are right now. Not as extreme, but also back to the Mavericks. They're turning it around. They were in, I think, second to last place for a while, but they're looking better. The whole Luka AD stuff. I mean, I remember AD back when he was at Kentucky. He was very good, and he's been a good player for a while. And so I think that it was it was more so the absence of Luka. It wasn't like necessarily that AD was that bad, but it was very strange. I do think there's some kind of like I think the Mavericks want to move to Vegas, but then they got Cooper Flag, which it's confusing. As much as I dislike Duke basketball, they got some good players, man. Cooper Flag, Concanupple are both in the race for Rookie of the Year, and so it's cool to see those rookies really make an impact. I think that's the Mavericks. You know, they've had like these kind of out of nowhere seasons where with Dirk and that championship, Luka and Kyrie getting to the finals. Like I think the Mavericks have really had like this like momentum, and trading Luka like that just really I think stifled it. Like they can certainly be good. Like they're not that far from play-in, but Klay Thompson as well they have now. I think Klay is definitely overhated. Like he's still good. I know the jokes about Megan Thee Stallion and all that, but he still has a lot of potential. I mean, he's had being a kind of Warriors fan because of Steph. Klay Thompson has had a great career, and I don't think that should be taken away from him just because he's not as good. Because Steph's not as good either. LeBron's not as good. KD's not as good. Like these players have gotten older. Like yeah, it's gonna happen where you kind of like you're not as good anymore. For Trailblazers, Dame is still hurt, I think, so that's kind of tough. I really think that the Bucks, like Dame plus Giannis, could have been really good, but I'll get to the East later. But Russell Westbrook on the Kings, I feel like he had the best chance of getting that ring. I was hoping he would get that ring. So I think he's been such a meaningful player. Like yeah, I think that sometimes he got a little bit overpraised for his triple double average. People say James Harden probably had a better year because of the more points and having like 9 assists, where it's like there's the bias of getting to double digits, even though he had more points. But I think it's been really cool to where he put his head down. Yeah, KD got traded in one of the most hated trades ever, but he's had an amazing career. And yeah, he had it tough in the Lakers, and they're not doing that good, the Kings. But I mean, he has this really amazing career. He's been overhated a lot, and maybe he'll finish it out and he'll get some more points. Get some more playing time because he's more of a sixth man on the Nuggets. Happy for him. Hope his end of his career goes well. Warriors. I think Jimmy Butler has a lot of potential. Obviously, duh. Maybe not potential. He's just good. The team has a lot of potential because they have him, but I think that's, what's his name? Spencer? Like, he's been doing really good. Apparently, he just was a lacrosse player that decided to switch to basketball. I know there's been a lot of hate about pods. Buddy Hield has been kind of controversial. Sometimes he'll have an amazing game, sometimes he'll do, like, nothing. I think the Warriors have so much potential. I want to see Steph do well. He's had an amazing career. He had a lot of fortune based off of having, Draymond, Clay, KD, Iguodala. Like they've had a lot of good players for a long time. I don't love Draymond, but he's good. Like you can't ignore it. And it's a little tough right now. I mean, they had a really packed schedule where they didn't have much rest, and that can be tough, especially if they had injuries. But I do think they have that. I mean, they beat the Rockets last year. In that crazy playoff series. It was intense, but they got it. Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is the future, man. Like I think I don't like Rudy Gobert. I think that he's not the he's all right. Maybe he's overhated, but Anthony Edwards is just so good. I mean, he's been the legend slayer. Like he just gets these crazy playoff wins. Like he's making it easier for everyone else because of what they set up for others. It's like, oh, I guess you beat a really good team, but you're easier to beat on paper, so you make it easier for someone else. But I mean, they've had a huge impact. If you've been paying attention, like you know how good the Timberwolves are. You know how good Anna is. And so that's exciting. Dude, it's just this freaking roster of teams here is so crazy. Spurs with Wemby. I know he's had some injuries and the way his body is shaped, like, yeah, there's going to be more likely a chance of injury. But I mean, dude, Wemby is the future, man. Like some of these guys, like Wemby and Ants and like Cooper Flag, like, dude, it's crazy, man. Like I think that this, LeBron, KD, Steph, like with the Olympics and kind of like the old guard, it's like it's gonna be okay. Like there's so many good players nowadays, and yeah, there's a lot of 3-point shots and like all that, but like don't underestimate how good some of these teams are. And Rockets have an interesting mix of players. I mean, KD is still playing pretty well. Steven Adams and you got Van Fleet had a pretty good year last year, and I think it's an interesting mix. Texas basketball has a lot of stuff down there. 3 teams, and they're all like they've all had really good stretches. Obviously, Mavericks not quite as good right now, but they have that potential. They have that star power. They definitely could. Nuggets, Jokic works so hard, man. like he's so good. And it's tough. Like there's times where like I remember it was like whenever he stepped off the court, the team would go scoreless and they give him so many points. And yeah, he's not the most defensive best player ever, but like he's such a key part and he's so good. And so it's cool to see. He got that ring, and that's really cool. He has so much potential. Like, I think the Nuggets would win the East a lot. So, I think that's sometimes maybe how stacked the West is compared to the East. As a Hornets fan, it's nice because it's easier to get into the playoffs, but we'll see if it actually matters. But yeah, I think the Nuggets are impressive. Lakers have been such a fun team to pay attention to. LeBron and Luka combined for 60 the other day. They got Austin Reeves is so cool. They got, who is number 12? Jake LaRavia, just randomly putting up numbers. They have Ayton now as Rui Hachimura had that crazy game winner when LeBron passed that. That was just like the sports moment. I feel like basketball is the most akin to like fiction, where it's like, dude, this is like the aura, the hype, the crazy decisions. Like, it's just so cool. And of course, I mean, there's a basketball anime. I've watched a little bit of it, but the Thunder just feels like it's a breaker of narratives among the rest of these teams because there's so many cool. I mean, I didn't even mention the Jazz. Like the Jazz have one of the best. I think I forget his name, but like someone was saying it's like a third team all NBA, and it's like and they're in 12th place. Like this, there's so many good teams here. Even Clippers. I mean, with James Harden, the West is just so cool. And of course, I'm on the East, and yeah, it's all right. Pistons have been great. That's interesting. I know Kofi. He's a Pistons fan, so I watch a lot of YouTube for the NBA, kind of alongside keeping up with results. And it's cool to see some of these teams. I mean, Jalen Brunson doing well with the Knicks. Celtics have been up there. Magic have been all right. They've been doing good. 76ers with Cade. Bucks with Giannis. I know there's been rumors that he's wanted out. I feel bad because I mean he has been such an important person for the Bucks. Like them getting that championship. They've had those losses like early to the Pacers, but Pacers got made it to the finals after that. So it's can't fault him there. So if he gets traded to the West, I mean that's just going to be it's going to suck the air out of the East a little bit, where it's you got a lot of the population of America is just watching all these really good players go over there. I mean, when LeBron got traded from the Cavs over there, you have so many players getting sent west, and sometimes East playoffs matter. They are the same weight, but the West playoffs are just so much more potent. There's so much going on there, and you got Trae Young and the Hawks. Pacers definitely have the potential to do them better now. They were doing terrible, but they're only 4 games out of the play-in. Hornets, we'll see how they do. I think there's things being figured out. Concanepal is doing great, but he's only one guy. He's still a rookie, still young. So I hope they figure some stuff out. I hope it turns around to where they can get to that play-in spot. Because it's been a while. I think it's been, 2016 since the last time they were in the playoffs? Like, I want to see them be up there. Because I know, North Carolina loves basketball. You've seen the excitement of UNC, Duke, NC State, even Wake Forest with Tim Duncan back in the day, and they're decent. North Carolina really cares about basketball. And it's Michael Jordan, being the owner of the Bobcats, now Hornets, there's so much excitement around basketball, and it sucks that the Hornets, Bobcats, whatever, have been bad for so long. And I definitely think that there's potential to be in contention. You have it easier. You have an easier conference overall than the West, so take use of it, All right, now we have soccer. This has been pretty crazy. I watched it a little bit. I kept up with the Charlotte game. This was crazy with the shootout. I don't know why they did best of 3 for round 1 and then best of 1 for the rest of it. I thought that was weird. Maybe it's guaranteeing each team a home game, but I think it's weird. I think you should keep it more uniform. I don't think you should go backwards. But I think MLS is getting a little bit more notoriety. Obviously, Messi winning with Inter Miami is really important. It adds another trophy to his collection, and that's cool. I think the break for the World Cup is really interesting. Maybe it could have been a different time. I feel like you could have done a little bit different with that. I understand the importance. I remember watching Ted Lasso and they take breaks for the World Cup and then they start the season back over and I get that. The World Cup is really cool. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I think that MLS is in an interesting spot. For smaller markets, I think they care more about it. For bigger markets, it's okay, you don't need to care about maybe LA and New York. I don't know how much they would care about soccer that much. New York did pretty well. And San Diego, not that far from LA, they did okay. But I'm sure Vancouver cares about it because they don't have very many other teams. It's just hockey for them because they lost the Grizzlies. The Seattle team moved away, so the closest team to there is Oregon, the Portland Trailblazers. I'm sure it matters to them a lot, and getting second place is pretty good. But I think the MLS is doing better. I think that it's been a joke of a league internationally for a long time, but I definitely think there's potential. I followed the Charlotte team a little bit, and it was it's cool. I think that soccer is really unique, and obviously international soccer is a big deal. Premier League, we have a lot of stuff going on. Holland has been really impressive between the World Cup qualifiers and this. He's just been really, really good. I don't really have a team for this, but I think the relegation system is really, really good. I think that is so excellent, and the fact that it's not the UK is not that big, but the potency of these teams, I think it's really cool. And Ted Lasso, whatever. Maybe I'm just a bandwagon alongside of that, but I think it's really cool to have this system. And Wrexham with Ryan Reynolds. You've had teams that have gone back and forth. Was it Sunderland, where there was it was they fell down twice and got back up. I think I think more leagues should do that relegation. I know esports is a little more popular, and I'll get to that. But I really like the format here, and the full round robin is good. I think other leagues should do more full round robins. The lack of playoffs is a little weird, but I do think it's so exciting. So many of these teams have such a huge following, and it's I think I might be Man United, maybe I don't know. I remember Leicester doing incredibly that one year was cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll I'll find a team to root for. But it's been cool to just like knowing the weight of this league and keeping up with some of the like the relegation and all the other leagues and stuff. I think it's a great ecosystem, and I'm really curious to learn more about it. World Cup is really cool. I was keeping up with it with the playing games. It was like at a 2:30, so I was like at work, like glancing at it, so I wasn't able to watch as much. But I think like the way it works is a little confusing, but I do think it's really cool to have. It's not just single limb; like you have more opportunities. A single limb, it just annoys me so much. Like, it feels lazy. Like yeah, it's easy to pay attention to. Yeah, like March Madness is really exciting, but like have more opportunities where it's like because if you play against the best team, it doesn't matter if you play against the finals or in round one. Like you're losing to the best, and so it's difficult to prove how good you are compared to the rest of the field. And I mean, like I remember I was watching like when I was a kid. It was like the Women's World Cup against like USA and Brazil, and I think USA clutched it out. It was like a really big deal. And it's like it's fun to have those individual games. It's not just like okay, a qualifier. Who cares? And I know USA is part of the host, so they didn't have as much to play for. But I mean, like what Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, I guess. Like these smaller things. Haiti, like it's cool to see some of these teams like have this opportunity to compete on a national scale. Because I mean, like yeah, the Olympics, but like I feel like the centralization of the World Cup, just around one sport, like you can be a lot more in depth with one. It's like you know the a lot of events are the same, where it's like if you specialize in one, you can do a lot more in depth. Where it has to be more shallow the farther you go across. So I appreciate the Olympics. I think it's cool, but having these specialized events just for one sport, I think it's so exciting. And the randomness of the groups, I mean, Group I is just crazy. Like that's tough. But I think there's a lot of, I think it's cool, and there's a lot of excitement across this. It being pretty sure it's what Canada, USA, and Mexico all have a hosting responsibility and like locations there. It's cool. I think it's I think it's pretty cool to be a part of that. I don't think I'm going to plan on going to any of the games, but I'll keep up with it. It'll be nice to have a better schedule to watch. But yeah, I think it's the randomness of groups can be a little bit off-putting, but it's a lot better than single limb. So I'm very curious to see. Who knows if USA will actually make it out? I definitely think that there's a chance they won't. It just seems like America is just not a soccer country. Like yeah, we're good, but it's just, I mean, some of these countries, like, they got so few people, but the potency, I mean, like, Curacau's in there. Like, it's cool to see those other countries, because, like, hey, like, America, we love to think we're the main characters, but, props to the teams that put in that work. Props to the Blue Jays. I know they have a lot of American players, but, like, props to those teams that are able to do well in other countries. Like, I mean, you have non-American players in MLB, NBA, NHL as well. Like, you have these people from other walks of life, other countries, and doing very well. And it's like, props to them. Like, I'm not gonna hate on someone just because they live in someone else, a different part of the world. So it's cool to see. I definitely, I think it starts back in March with more of the qualifiers, and then it's like more so June. So that'll be cool. I definitely want to keep up with that. I haven't really paid that much attention to soccer as a whole, but I'm very curious about it. F1 is become more on my radar. I learned more about it like a year or two ago. I don't love the part of like, I feel like there should be more standardization about like the cars, and like, okay, the drivers is what matter, not the company. I think it's kind of cool. I'm not going to hate on it for that reason. I don't think, NASCAR is so much better, like, whatever. Like, clearly, I mean, look at this roster of players. There's no Americans. It's an international sport, and, like, I mean, I know there was one in Vegas recently, but it's become such this like international uh, focus, and that's really cool. I mean, you have Great Britain and Spain, other France, other parts of Europe, even a little bit of Canada here and there, Asia as well. This is what Thailand, um, and Japan, a little bit of Latin America with Brazil and Argentina, I think. But yeah, I mean that's just been really really cool to see. Verstappen has been such a big part of F1, so seeing him getting dethroned is a big deal. I like the point structure. I think that it provides a lot of value throughout the season. I've done things where I have point structures based off of like invitationals and stuff, and I think that having that is really cool, and that's something pretty unique to racing. Um, Golf might do something like that. I don't know. It's more so like individual qualifiers, like at events, I think. But like the point system is really cool, and I mean, if you look at this comparison, like these three drivers are pretty good. Um, but like yeah, Verstappen has the most wins, but the consistency, so he's like right behind him, and he has more podiums. It makes sense that he had the best season overall. Even if you count the wins as a lot more, like I think that getting more podiums is important, and huge props. He clutched up. He got third place the other day at, what was it, Abu Dhabi, I think, and he was able. Norris was able to clutch up. He got third place, which means he barely stayed in first place for points and won world champion. So that's really cool. I've learned more about it, and I want to get more involved. There's a lot of stuff I've been keeping up with, but I mean, Lewis Hamilton still doing pretty good. Other representation across the world, I think, is really interesting, and I really think that F1 has so much potential to continue to grow in America. Like NASCAR, North Carolina, with the Charlotte Motor Speedway, big part of kind of locally. But I was like, I don't really care about racing that much. I feel like it's really like not that, like it's just boring. Like, and I understand like the speed versus like more like skill. I think that like having more of a course where you're winding through, I think it's more impressive. Like obviously going faster for racing is really impressive. Like the speeds that NASCAR can go are crazy, but F1 is not slow by any means, and I think it's more skill of the driver. I think you can appreciate like the course and how challenging it is. I remember I was watching Squeezy's event. What was it? GP Explorer 3, I think was the name. Watching Ludwig and Michael Reeves and a few others do that, it was really cool. And they were doing Formula 4, and it was still like crazy intense. Like the engines are so much stronger in F1, and I think it's like you gotta like give huge props there. I think also the team structure is really cool. Usually it's just those two drivers together. I think, and I remember what was the other guy on Red Bull? I forget, but like he was doing really good of being a teammate. Having this defensive driving and making it hard to pass and like helping Verstappen do well, and a lot of credit there. I think there's no coincidence that McLaren won and got third because they both did well together, and so huge props there. Yeah, I want to keep up with more F1 in the future. I'll definitely be tuning in next year. Now we are moving to our esports portion of the podcast. So if you were only interested in sports, you can tap out. I'll probably have a timestamp if you just wanted to skip the sports stuff, but I think it's great to bring them together. Anyway, Call of Duty. One of the most accessible esports in that it is very, very popular. It is a game that so many people are aware of and have played. Call of Duty, the league, like the official like tier 1 esport for it, has had ups and downs. They're kind of going the route of Overwatch League, where they're trying to franchise based off of locations. For esports, I think that's very difficult. I think that having like, yeah, I'm North Carolina, so I guess I'll root for the Royal Ravens just cause. And they did okay last year. I think they like seventh or like fifth or something. Like they did okay. They did all right. But I know like LA has such a huge part of it. Optic is such a huge brand. FaZe is a huge brand as well. Like, and then you have the Saudi money coming in. Yeah. Cloud9, G2, like you have these other teams that are getting involved. I'm not sure who owns the Royal Ravens. I don't really know. Infinite Reality, Rogue. Um, I guess it was kind of an extension of KOI, Koi, whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense that probably not the biggest market. That North Carolina, Charlotte area is not the biggest market compared to some of these other places, but yeah, I think it's cool. I think having these long round robins is pretty common in esports, and I think it's good. I think having a regular season structure is helpful, um, but it's just people don't care that much about it. Like NFL, people care about the regular season. NBA and MLB, people still like keep up with it because there's more data, it's more spread out. But like I feel like there's not that much data here, but it just doesn't feel that important. And I think there's potential. Call of Duty is because you have to refresh and get the new game every year. I think it's difficult to like really have like this like you can't really sink your teeth into it because you have to be ready to move on to the next thing. And I wish that they would like kind of slow down, but I understand that it's a huge cash cow and they probably don't want to. I get it. It's hard to turn away the free money every year. But I think Call of Duty has a lot of potential. The biggest thing that's potential is challengers. I have been keeping up with like I watched a little bit of Barstool. I mentioned like part of my take and all that. I watched like their Survivor show pretty much and keep up with some things. And they decided to get a challengers team. A few of them. One of the main podcasts I watched was Son of a Boy Dad, which is I mainly knew Roan and Francis. I thought they were hilarious, and Sass was also a part of it. Sass and Jersey Jerry, which Jerry's pretty crazy. And also Mook, I don't really know much about him, but they are deciding to get involved with a team. And I think it's been so cool. I think Challengers has been so unique in that the accessibility is so helpful. I know for Elite, they used to do like academy teams. They're making it a little bit more challengers for the smaller teams. I watch a lot of Ludwig, and to where him and Moist Critical had Moist Moguls, and they got involved with the Challengers team. Eventually, they merged with Shopify Rebellion, and for Valorant, it was really exciting. They got so close 2 years in a row to promoting, but it was really cool. And I remember Brock became part of one of the best teams, and so it's cool to see those players be developed. And I think that COD has that potential as well. I mean, you have 331 teams here. That's nuts. And they did that in 2 days. Most of it in 1 day. Like, I think that's super exciting to have so much involvement where it's like, look, you don't gotta like get picked up and hope that you are in the 0.001%. Get a team together and try it out. Like, I think that is so cool. And Telluride Bush is the Barstool team. They made top 8 the first day. They didn't really finish out the bracket on this for Face It. They do this for like the bulk of the bracket, and then they kind of just do it in house. Liquipedia is also a great resource. I wasn't used to using it for like because I mainly followed like Smash, and it doesn't do that much for Smash. But for other esports, it's so helpful. Free plug, I guess. But I guess they updated like top 32. But they were pretty high seed. I heard they were the 3 seed. They look like to be the 7 seed here, based off of their position. I don't really know, but they were a top seed. They had TJ Haley and a bunch of other players that were considered to be pretty good, former in the league, and they were able to clutch out. And there were some nail biters. This first one was Game 5. Winter Finals was Game 5. They were able to clutch out Grand Finals. I had it on when I was streaming and I was listening to it, and just the excitement around it is so cool. I think that I remember Ludwig first sponsoring Zane at Genesis, and it was like that's the most he cared about watching something, because he put up his own money sponsoring this player, and the pride behind it is so cool. And that part, I want to get involved. I want to use this kind of thing to help fund esports, and because it's difficult, and even this is not necessarily that profitable for the players, but at least it helps out a little bit where you're providing support for them to be able to travel to majors and all this kinds of stuff. Also giving them a platform. I mean, TJ Haley had he's going viral now. It's been really cool to see how good they were doing, and the excitement from guys. I mean, Big Cat was there and he's like, "Yo, are we winning?" Getting involved in that. Dave Portnoy is a whole different can of worms, but even he's been made aware of it, where people are he's like, "Yo, I'm trying to talk about football." He's keep talking about the bush, and it's I want to get all things shut down. I was like, okay, dude, whatever. But the impact that it's had from one small team in a decently big esport, but they care so much about it. They're getting involved, and I think creator-based esports are the future. I mean, you have Disguised, DSG. You have Casuals getting involved. What was it? Los Ratones. I know Ebai's done stuff. Ludwig is still involved with Shopify Rebellion with Moist Critical. I saw some other players Box ran a TFT tournament. Having these creators be able to front this money is so cool. I think that between you have the crypto money and you have the Saudi money and the whatever venture capitalist money, it created a bubble, and it still kind of is for esports, and it's just it's so spread out, and it's harder to drain that money from people, because they're not willing to put up as much compared to someone that goes to games for $200 for probably more than that for the NFL. It's hard to profit from this, but I still think esports are so fun, and this is a case in point. Hey, get involved. Look, you can be a group of guys and just get a team together and or sponsor a team. Is just put a little bit of money aside, and you can have so much excitement from it. And I think that Challengers is so unique in that you can be directly involved. I remember I saw Jesser had a AAU team, and try to get involved with that, but it's hard for kind of that offline involvement. LAN is awesome. I love playing offline, but the ability for online esports to be all these people coming together and uniting from it and watching from home, I think that is what esports, a lot of it can grow and has excitement from it. And I really think that there's so much potential with Challengers. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I know Barstool is a little controversial, and if they lose, it'll be funny. If they win, it'll be cool. It's a big moment for Challengers, because it's yo, it's fun. Try it out. There could be who knows, maybe Bustle with the Boys as a rival team or something. I don't know, probably not, but it's cool because it's so much easier to get involved. It's really not the league is really expensive, but it could really turn to something, and having this additional support for esports and excitement for it. These guys that never get involved. I mean, they were saying 2/3 of their viewers had never seen Challengers, any kind of competitive COD before. That accessibility is so important. I mentioned it a little bit later for chess, other things like that, where accessibility is so important. But I'll keep up. They have another Challengers Cup coming up this weekend as well, and I think it's gonna be awesome, and it'll be cool to keep up with. Now we have a little bit of my neck of the woods. I've been following for a long time, since 2015 was when I first started watching a Smash and getting involved. Like end of 2014 is when I started playing. Started watching majors at the end of beginning of 2015 with Paragon Orlando, Apex 2015. The rest was history. Nouns Invitational. I know there's been some controversy with Nouns and with the crypto money and whatever, but like, look, we gotta have tournaments. Like that's gonna be super super helpful. And this tournament was amazing. Like I understand that we didn't have other sided brackets, and the large round robin may not be popular by everyone, but I like that they didn't do the four round robin pools of 4. I think that can really cause like this. Like it's just not that big of a deal. Like in terms of like if you're a bottom seed, you don't have that many opportunities. But I mean, Goody and Sunsei getting to play really important because like Goody got that Aklo win, but you have like these two probably in other pools would have gone winless. Like I guess Sunsei did better there, but like let's look at the bottom pools like Crudo like having more opportunities. Nikki could have had a bad pool and not been good as well. He got winner's bracket. He got 3rd seed. Like having those more like whether you do Swiss or larger round robin pools or irregular numbers to where you have a little bit like more unique matchups, I think is so helpful. So I really like seeing this. I understand that like it's challenging to have that endurance. I've run a lot of invitationals. I'll talk about mine a little bit, but I think that like Amsa has had a rough year, but he still got 2 wins. Still got an Aklo win. And did solidly. J-Mook did incredible this time. Zane H-Box got another one. Zane finally was able to get another AMSA win. Trip was really close. Played against J-Mook here. Game 5 against Sunsei. Like having these top players play more against lower seeds is so helpful because they can just beat a couple of them and be in winter semis, and you don't see that much. And like they don't have the chance. I mean, like, look at these. He had 3 game 5s against the best player in the world. I mean, they're the bottom half seeds. Like, that's really awesome to see. Pool 1 was a little bit more legacy seeding. This is more stack based off of like recency seeding, and it was pretty upset prone. I mean, Moki has been really really good. Joshman, they've both been like, I think Joshman and STJ were both like top 5 contention maybe. Moki also up there. But they had some losses. Moki did all right overall in pools, but still got that Nikki loss. Nikki really bounced back. I think that having that top 10 run last year, and then having a little tough first half of the year, losing to Kevbot, still got the H-Box win, but unfortunately not as many good wins as previous. I mean, Crudo had it kind of rough. Crudo still did good. Did fine. Like SGJ win is solid, and a lot of these losses are not that surprising. But like I think when you win Full Bloom, you get top 3 at Tipped Off. The Rat Monster losses and all of these, it feels disappointing. But like, look, put yourself out there and have more opportunities, and a lot of things can result from that. And I think no one went. Aklo was the only one that went winless, and that's unfortunate for him. But it was really cool to see so many unique matchups. Like we didn't have any Falcons. The character diversity wasn't the most it's ever been, but it's still solid. I mean, you had 2 Peaches, 2 Puffs, Pikachu, an Ices, a couple Sheiks, a Marth, a bunch of Foxes, but like not as many Foxes as other times. It's like a fair amount. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Foxes. A little bit of Axe too, but like, that's fine. Like Fox is an important character in the meta. Like we wish we could have more Falco. With Mango coming back, maybe Magi, Ginger, but like Melee is such exciting. Like you can still have excitement even if you don't have your. You also had Yoshi here, but if you don't have Falcon, Falco, Samus, Luigi, like there's still so much excitement, DK, from the rest of the cast. I mean, so many of these sets were awesome. Losers Finals was incredible. J-Mook played crazy. and Zane wasn't even doing that bad. Like they would just have like a rap battle where they're just going back and forth, like zero deathing each other. Like Zane got some crazy stuff, but J Mook was playing lights out. J Mook it's been tough this year. Even last year a little bit he was doing kind of tough, but like he got first place last Sounds Invitational, second place here. Really cool to see him bounce back. Lod had a good run. Josh Man was able to bounce back from starting losers. Lod Goody was a crazy set. Sunsei beating Nikki. That's pretty good. H-Sparks got that run back against Nikki. Cody played so well. Did not drop that many games. Dropped 3 in final bracket and 2, 4, 7. So dropped a few games here and there, but still did very, very solidly. I mean, ultimately, if you get the set win, you get the set win. And I think that the consensus was it wasn't enough to get first for the year, but I mean, having Zane and Cody being top 2 is so good for the game. I really think that they're really good. Like they're grinders. I know Cody, he was concerned about his ability because of a lack of sponsorship. A lot of teams have been pulling out of these smaller esports. Like Smash, you get a lot of notoriety, you got a lot of social media presence, but it's just not a lot of money. I know Rivals, like other platform fighters, kind of have this potential of like not being limited by their parent company, but Smash has that like notoriety, like COD being so accessible. And it's unfortunate that like there's not more that can grow from it, but I saw Frosty Falstings had to get rid of Smash because they were so concerned about getting that approval, and that's tough, man. Like I don't get why they Nintendo's gonna be Nintendo at some point, but still, this was an awesome event. I watched so much of it. It was starting at like 10 or 11 p.m. for me out East Coast, and so I had to either stay up and then watch it in the morning and all that kind of stuff. But really cool event. Shout outs to Ohan, he's done a great job. I know there's been some difficulty with nouns, but ultimately the fruits of his labor have been excellent. And so I really appreciate what he's done. And even seeing Ken and Bomb Soldier, that was cool. It just felt like there were so many positives. It was like I love seeing people come together and feeling so good about something. Back to Summit 11, back to these Genesis and Big Houses, Supernova, SmashCon, it's so awesome to feel this, and competitive Melee is just so cool. Now we have the other big Smash game, Ultimate. Steve is a problem. Steve is a problem. Now, we didn't even have the best Steves compete this past weekend. Akola, Carmelo, 33 box in Japan, didn't really do much. Didn't see anything from Syrup or Anin. But we still had 3 Steve wins out of the main, I think there was 4 main brackets and 3 of them were Steve. You had Phantom beating Tweak, and Aloe and Jackal. This was more of a tri-state, regional, but tri-state's really good. So it's obviously it matters a lot. And Tweak reset the bracket. Tweak has kind of been up and down against Steve, but ultimately Phantom, which I thought was a DK player because he played DK some at they played DK at Cap Clash some, I think, and had a pretty good run. But Phantom got the dub, and they've been doing a lot better. I didn't really know about them until I saw them at Cap Clash, but props for getting those 2 Tweak wins and a Jackal win. Those are very solid. And then we had this event in NDVA, King of the Hill. King of the Hill was a tournament there. The Hill was kind of closing down. Big props to them for being a big part of MDVA tournaments. But Rap, which I don't really know much about Rap, it's I guess we have a new Steve now. Because there's been Chris, there's been Izuki, there's been Bulbor Bob, Leo Lee, And we have another Steve that beat Smub, Willie, and Free K Flock. DQ winning against Oolong, but I mean he was seeded to win there. And 3-0ing Smub is really impressive. Free K Flock. I watched Grands and the Rob. I don't know why he went Rob. Like I feel like if people were saying he did that 0 to none was his old tag. Doesn't like Steve Zelda. From my experience, Justice was a really good Zelda, and Chris was a really good Steve. And Justice would not do that bad. I know he would sometimes go like Pyramithra, but I feel like Zelda is okay. Like it's no worse than a lot of other matchups. Like it's doable. So I think it's like, look, you gotta stick it out. Like playing a main in Smash is so committal because every character is so different, especially in matchups. Like I feel like fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken, and it's a lot easier to be able to switch because it's like you have this level of familiarity. It's like, okay, watch out for this. Here's the frame data, but like there's the full movement and process of platform fighters are complicated to where it's harder. And not to take away from traditional fighters, like they're cool. I'm going to start playing more of them once I get my fight stick. But platform fighters, it's hard to switch characters, and I think that there could have been a lot of potential if Free K Flock had stuck it out with Zelda from Game 1. When Game 5, Raph got the dub. And we also have No Time to Tilt. This was a European major that Zomba went to. Lost kind of early, lost to Raflo. But Crepe Soleil, who's been really good, getting closer and closer to Gluto for being the best in France. And Tarek and Siski had really good Raflo as well. They all had good tournaments. Even Chad beat Big Boss, who's been having a good season as well. But top of the mountain was Crepe Soleil. And yeah, a lot of Steve. Now, the other big tournament was this, not as stacked. It was more so like a California regional. You had mostly SoCal, a little bit of NorCal. Monty playing Game & Watch. And so, okay, whoa, big jump down the tier list, going from Steve to Game & Watch, But I think that Smash Ultimate is pretty unique in that there's so many characters. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of character diversity. Like even here was like, what, FD plays Rosa? I think Mo is like a Duck Hunt. Anthony is a Cloud. Ludo is a Falco Mario. MFA is Olimar. Marco is a Toon Link. Pretty sure I got those. This is not even that stacked. Like we didn't have Louis Money or Kurama or anything like that. But yeah, you're gonna have other characters, but these top tiers are becoming more popular because they're good. You see some Robs, maybe you see some Sonics, you see some characters a bunch, Snake is fairly popular, but Steve is becoming just increasingly popular because Steve is so good. It's frustrating that Steve was not adequately balanced into the game and just okay, we're done. You can't modify it though. We'll just play it. You can't ban Steve. My local scene banned Steve for a little bit. Didn't really affect results that much. Because our best also played Game & Watch, so he just went to one of the other best characters. But yeah, I think it's Steve is frustrating. I thought Steve was funny at first. I'm like, LOL. Seeing all these players do really good at Steve, but the depth of Steve mains has really been impressive, or a problem if you don't like Steve. But Steve is really becoming a larger minority. I mean, it's not going to be like that one Leroy bracket in Tekken where Leroy was 5 out of 8 for the top 8 or something. We're probably not going to see that much Steve, but you're going to see it a lot in top 32. You're going to see it a lot in top 64. You're going to see it almost always in top 8 at some point. Yeah, we're seeing Min with Odoramigi. We're seeing Sonic. with Sonics and Ken. You have Snake with Hurt. Game and Watch with Mia. Like these Japanese players have been so consistent. You have Cloud and even a few others with Spargo. But Steve is becoming more and more popular as you start to like branch out and like these regionals. Steve is just as good. Like you don't need that one or two people in the world. Like okay, not everyone can play Miliyoshi like Amsa. Like not everyone can play Sephiroth like Tweak. Like you have these rarities, but Steve is not that rare anymore. So a lot of people were saying they want Smash 6 to come out. Based on the years, it should be that time. I don't think they're gonna rush it though. It's probably gonna still be a little bit longer. But Steve is just you gotta learn the Steve matchup if you want to play this game. Like yeah, there's a lot of matchups you gotta know, but like you need to know how to beat Steve because you are going to lose to one unless you do something to stop it, or you pick up Steve because at least you can also have those same tools. Steve is definitely, and this is anecdotal because it's just one weekend, but like we've seen Steve so much. I mentioned that like 6 of the best Steves in the world didn't even play this past weekend, and we still saw Steve dominance. So it's something you got to watch out for. I mean, some of the best players in the world, like Spargo, had that great record against Steve. And if you can beat Steve, you're going to be good. If you can't beat Steve, that's going to be tough. You're probably going to be inconsistent. So, huge matchup to learn. And maybe certain players are going to like make more effort, but sometimes it feels too little too late. Like, it's a good character. And especially with the lack of ability to ban him for most events, it's sometimes we're a little stuck, but we'll see how it goes. I did also run my own event this past weekend, Southwest Virginia Circuit Finale 7. I did an invitational for both Melee and Ultimate, and it was good. Didn't have Steve, our Steve main, and Game & Watch dual main. He graduated, so we didn't have any Steve. We had some other characters though. We had 2 Nesses, which one of the Nesses also play like Lucas and Snake. Mega is a Sora Min, mainly Min this past one. Balto was playing, I think I saw him do Kazuya, Sonic, I saw a little bit of ZSS, Booyah Blasters, Falco, John Gambling, Grog was playing DK. It was strange, but he did really well. Had like Rob, Wolf, Roy for Zukake, Game & Watch, not Game & Watch, Greninja for Chario, a few other characters here and there. It was really fun to run, and it's been my first offline tournament in a while, so it was cool to have that. I think so many other scenes can do something like this. I'll probably make a video about it. But yeah, I think that like the local excitement is what can really help fighting games thrive. Speaking of fighting games, going back to the traditional side of things, this Street Fighter League just finished up. Now, I didn't watch much of it. I was aware of it, but it was a long event. You had part of it in November, part of it in December. Like, that's long. But it was cool. A lot of players I was aware of. Riddles was able to play with FlyQuest. You have, of course, Punk, and then you have, like, Xiaohai, you had Mena RD, you had these other really good players, and you had this point structure, which I think is kind of interesting, where some games matter more than others, with like the third match. I don't know, I have to look at that a little bit more, but I think having a team structure, like kind of like a crew battle, but more so like okay, you pick who goes and when, instead of like you stay until you lose. Like I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that it is a cool format, and having this team based thing. I mean, crew battles have been popular in Smash. Individual like you're gonna have a lot more apathy for individual that like yeah, you might have a little bit of of a horse in a race. But like with tennis and golf, like the 15th best in the world you might not care about, but if they're part of a team, it's like, oh shoot, like let's go team. Like you might care about 2 players on the teams, so you'll care about everyone on the team. And so I think it's a cool format. I understand why singles is a bigger deal, like makes sense. But I think it's neat, and how it played out, I saw some of it where FlyQuest had that really cool run. I think FlyQuest is a really cool team, just with like Jmook, and I know there's controversy with League and all that kind of stuff, but FlyQuest has been doing a lot, and props to them. I saw PBU was involved with it too. Shout outs, one of the best marks of all time. But they had a good run. I saw the what was it, Zhao Hai and Punk a little bit there, and they made it all the way to Grands, but Bandit's too strong. I mean, like, who was on their team? I know Mena. They had also Kaba, Chris T, and Boos Lee. Really strong. I know Kaba's also been up there. Chris T as well. Like, that's just a strong team, and huge props to them for clutching up. And yeah, I think that competitive Street Fighter is is in a pretty good spot. I know that the game is like, some people feel like it's too swingy, and there's a lot of comebacks, and it's hard to keep a lead. It's a little bit more like simplified to where, like, you're gonna have some teams or some games that are like very execution based, and execution is important, but like it's kind of a little bit more rudimentary where it feels more mental. But it's still challenging. It's really hard to be consistent. And so we've seen an increasing amount, the top level of esports is important, but I think we've seen a lot of like fighting game benefit from more like accessible events. So like Say Jam Slam has been a huge deal. It was for Street Fighter, Tekken, 2XKO, huge deal. And so it makes sense why these people that participated, and the host, I know Brawl Pro was a little bit more like self-sufficient in the fighting game, but like SK and Lily Pichu, alongside of Sage and being a part of those events, like that drew so many eyes to it, and people that really enjoy these games. I mean, like Super TF is getting involved with it. Lily Pichu, SK. I mean, like these players. We saw for the AT&T stuff, you had Agent and Tyler One and these FPS players like getting involved with it. Emeru, like the accessibility of fighting games is what really propels it forward. And I think that like having a casual competitive format is what is really going to help. Really going to help esports stay relevant. I mean, like you have a celebrity softball game, but you don't see Kevin Hart, he's going to shoot threes for the celebrity basketball game, but like it's not as big of a deal. But you've seen these people like put their head down and try their best. It's not going to be as high level as possible compared to all your pros, but they're getting better. They're better than a lot of the viewers. Like they're doing really well, and they're putting their head down and trying. And so many people were angry. The Streamer Wars, I thought, was an awesome event. Huge props to Cute Cinderella. Specifically for this esports part, I know there was other stuff like Clix winning Battle Royale and these other esports here and there. But specifically for fighting games, Lily has gotten so much hate because she's a tourist. We had the same thing with Squeaks winning Speedrunner of the Year, and like I think that it was more so like it was clear like, okay, people really want a green squeegee to win. But the fact that this entire thing, like, Brawl Pro is closed, Sajam's a commentator, but like people thought that SK and Lily, maybe because they're partially because they're women, but like in general, like it's like, okay, we don't have like that punk. You don't have that like super top level person being a streamer. Well, it's not best fighting game player, it's best fighting game streamer. And yeah, Lily Pichu was very successful outside of fighting games, but she played it a ton. Like she played it a lot, and like you don't have to think that she's the best streamer for it. But I think putting your head down and trying it. And like, if you're gold level or plat or something, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of praise. I mean, Ludwig's run to plat in league was a huge deal. Like having these other people that are not necessarily the peak of playing, but help with accessibility, because you want more people. If you only have a small amount of people that are really, really good, that's not very accessible. If you don't want to go in and just get destroyed every time. I think RTSs is difficult because it's a small player base that are so good at the game. I know Age of Empires is getting a little bit more popular, but like I'm curious about like StarCraft, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna get bodied, but I'll try it. But like fighting games have been so unique recently. There's so many good ones, and there's been so much like excitement around like, okay, can they learn how to beat a E Honda spam? Like, can they learn how to beat Teemo in 2XKO? Can they like learn these things that are pretty simple? And it's sometimes it's like puzzles. Like seeing Northernlion play 2XKO was so fun. Like the whole discourse, with the move names and whatever. But like, it's cool. Like you should want people to play your game. You should want people to bring the game to more people. I was talking about that with COD Challengers earlier. Like having it be more accessible. CDM has done great. I know that it's been it's based off of PogChamps for not based off of, but like related to, which I'll get to in a bit. But I know that Wisely is doing a Rivals 2 event, Wisely Wars, I think. Like, that's something that I want to even try. Like having this accessibility where like, you don't have to play for 2,000 hours to be one of the best in the world just to make $100. Like you can be a part of it, and you can still compete. And like, don't get confused. You're not one of the world best, but hey, still try it out. Still have fun. That's awesome. And there's a gateway, like, because they get invited to Evo, and some of them do pretty well there. Like, I think that's cool. What was like FD Signifier had a pretty good run in Tekken. Super TF had a really close set against a really good player. Like having these like Coney and Slime have been really fun to watch with this. Like I don't know if I would be that invested. Like I watched these more than I watched the Street Fighter League I mentioned earlier. Maybe that makes me filthy casual, but I think it's exciting to watch these things. If someone that already knows someone, like a streamer or YouTuber, and will watch whatever they do, and you funnel them in, and it's like, oh, I like that game. Like, that is a big thing. Accessibility is so important for the success. Like, I mean, baseball's adjusting. Like, they're having freaking HoloLive do the take me out to the ball game. They're having a pitch clock. They're advertising to Japan. They're trying to, like, Latin America is such a huge part. So, like there's more, like, trying to make it a worldwide thing. And having these esports be elitist and turn away people is like, sorry, you're not good enough to be, it's streaming, man. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. So huge props to Lily. I think it's I feel bad that she's had so much hate from it. I know I'm not necessarily the FGC side of fighting games. I've been more platform fighters, but I want to get more involved. And it's like, look, like, more eyes on your games is a good thing. So don't turn it away. All right, a couple more left. Accidentally made this peak earlier, but I also talked about it. PogChamps. Now, back in like 2020, PogChamps was huge. The chess boom was going insane on Twitch. Hikaru was getting really big. Even Magnus Carlsen started to get involved. Like, you have these really, really good players that are trying to make it more accessible. That's another big word. Like PogChamps, the very first one. I remember I cared more about the consolation bracket than I did the main bracket. Voy was that winner. But between Moist Critical, XQC, and Ludwig, like that consolation bracket was so exciting. Like the pool play, so exciting. Like Fusli and Erob and all these other players, like, it was really cool. And I think part of the appeal is that, like, you never know if they're gonna blunder, and it's like the commentators in the eval bar completely swinging, like it's cool. Now, this was Super PogChamps, where we had a bunch of really good chess players, some people that had previously been in PogChamps, Boy being The winner of one of them, Sardosh, another one, Tyler won as well. But others that were considered to be too good. We have Masioka was an actor. Linda Diaz was a singer, songwriter. Then you have Spargo and Sonic Fox. Shout outs to Spargo being one of the best platform fighter players of all time. Sonic Fox being one of the best traditional fighting players of all time between Mortal Kombat. You have DBFZ. Him and Goichi were, peak DBFZ was awesome. And so seeing Sonic Fox, neither of them did that well in pools, but they were still able to compete in the constellation bracket. I think that's a cool thing. I don't like how there's a bigger prize for the constellation bracket than the first person out of champion bracket. I feel like you should kind of segment that out to reward the excellence of doing well, but whatever. And they also they don't do the 4 pools of 4 anymore. They do the 2 pools of 6, and I think that it gives more matches. There's less individual care about each match, but it allows the event to go faster. Because I remember the first 2 pod champs, they would last a while, and each match one at a time. It's tough. Andrea Botez, Boy as well. Group B was a pretty cool group as well. Seme, I think, was a comedian in India. I didn't know much about this group entirely. Sardosh was a winner of the 3rd one. Virtual did very well in the 4th one. I forget. But is Data Anna Cramling? I think Anna Cramling's so cool. I saw her collab with Justin Herbert of the Chargers. That was cool. Will Benson plays for the Cincinnati Reds. Tyler won, of course. Tyler won is just he might be the best streamer of all time. I'm obviously biased with some people with Ludwig and these other streamers. I like Coney, I like SageM, learning more about FaZe, but Tyler one might be the goat, dude. And he is just so good. Anything he does is entertaining. So I don't know. And then you have Daryl Morey is apparently the GM of the 76ers. I don't love 76ers by any means, but having sports be involved like this is really cool. I mean, you have comedian, you have a singer, you have a actor, you have a sports player, a sports manager. You even had Logic and what's his name? Dwight from The Office, Rainn Wilson. Had him in a previous podcast as well. That's really cool. You had Mr. Beast. You had these people that are involved, and that's awesome. And I think that it brings I think that athletes themselves, if they're not the biggest in the world, it's hard to bring eyes to it. But it's cool. It's neat to see people that have been successful in one thing try their hand at something else. And final bracket there were some surprises. Tyler 1 did not do well, unfortunately. He had a pretty rough. I was hoping he'd do better. I think that the cow was probably not the best idea. Spargo had a decent run in here, beating Tyler. Sonic Fox made it to finals, both of them losing to Boy. That was cool. It was neat to see. And then championship bracket was pretty surprising. Sardosh defeating Masioka, who had been super dominant in the pool. Seme and Andrea Botez was a crazy set. Feel bad for Virtual. He him and Linda Diaz. I think that they could have won if you did top 4 and then everyone else. They certainly would have done very well. I mean, based on placing, sure, but I think they had it tough because they're in shark infested water. These players were crazy, and Seme played so well. I mean, one of those, I think game 3 against Andrea, whatever. It was a huge swing. How did he find that? I'm not that good at chess. I like watching it more than I like playing it. I might start playing more, but it's so challenging. It is so easy. I was playing my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and I've been watching a lot of chess. I've been learning stuff, and I had been taking pieces, and then I just got cornered, and I'm man, I played so good for 80% of the game, and then I got mated. the ability to find those things I think is so cool. And this was less swingy in terms of like chaos and the blunders and all that kind of stuff, but it was still really impressive. I think the prestige of it was really cool. Yeah, I think that PogChamps has kind of died down in popularity, but the groundwork they laid in terms of the accessibility, casual competitive events, I think there's so much potential across all these things. I know it's hard to do for team-based esports and stuff like that, but like I saw the Annihilator Cup and Rumi Rumble and all these other things that people did. It reminds me of like the boxing events where it's like, look, like you're successful in one thing, you try your hand at something else. That's cool. Like it's cool to try your best at something. It's not a bad thing to attempt to win. Like putting your best foot forward and applying yourself is cool. It's cool to try hard. So I hope that people are like, the viewership was down. The donations for the Haiti charity were not that much, but be encouraged at chess.com. Like you're doing great. Like it's really cool. The elitism is unfortunately gonna persist, but I wouldn't be involved with chess at all if not for you. Like Sajam, done a great job. I wouldn't be watching 2xKO that much if it weren't for you. Like or Tekken, like that. I used to not like Tekken. Well, like okay, good for Arslan Ash, but like I don't like the game. I just convinced myself I didn't like the game. But like watching it more based off of Coney and Slime and the craziness going back and forth, like the game's cool. Like don't be so like, even if you don't like who's the best in the game, like play the game some. Like people like ranked because it's fun to compete. And sometimes you might camp your rank a little bit. I know Melee Online's had that problem. But like, it's fun. Like I think it's totally cool to apply yourself. And this casual competitive like kind of atmosphere on Twitch is infectious. People want to be good. I mean, the PSL versus FaZe Call of Duty stuff was electric, dude. Especially that first one with the Nick 360 on Adapt, man, that was just magic, dude. Like I just found myself, like, I was so hyped about it. Yeah, it's been awesome. And of course, the biggest esport currently is League of Legends. World is wrapped up. I've started to play League. I am almost in level 30 to where I can play ranked, because it requires you to pretty much practice the game before you start inting, and which means like dying a lot. Inting implies intentional, but like you're supposed to learn the game before you are potentially an anchor to everyone else. So I think that I love Swiss. I think that the way some things were chosen was a little bit out of balance, but I mean, like the fact that I was trying to tell my wife this, she was like, okay, cool, but like the fact that you're bringing together like South Korea, China, the rest of Asia, Europe, and the Americas, like I think it is so cool that this has had so much like enthusiasm globally. Now, I think that there's a bit of a bubble that League was on. People were like, yo, it's going to overtake hockey and baseball, and like I definitely gave a presentation in the class saying how it was going to do that. It didn't. But I think it's so cool to see. I mean, the T1 story is just awesome. Faker is just so incredible. The fact that like they were a play-in, then they were an 8th seed and they still won. Like, I feel bad for AL. Like, it is so good, and like they won all this stuff, but they got stuck with T1, and they can't even prove that they're the second best or the third best, or like they're just stuck at tied for 5th. And like I think that double elimination is better in a lot of ways. I understand that the appeal of these larger things is making it simple, making it like, okay, this game matters. Like there's a reason why we don't have a bracket reset in for the Super Bowl. Like I get it. But I do think there's so much potential for having these like sometimes League feels a little bit of Mickey Mouse in terms of like the randomness. I remember 100 Thieves had a lot harder bracket than FlyQuest. Now FlyQuest was a higher seed. They won in a LCS. I forget what it was called. But like they won the Americas League. Sure, makes sense for you to have an easier bracket. But like some of this stuff is like some teams did not have the harder bracket. It was like Billy. Like yeah, they were good, but what was it? G2. They didn't really play that many good teams, and like yeah, they did fine. Took a game off the top, like they did alright. But some of these is just like some brackets are harder than others. So I feel like seeding. I mean, there's also randomness with World Cup. I think that there's things that could be tweaked, but ultimately, I'm glad that there is so many high level games. Like there's so many things like between the regular seasons and the MSI and mid-season invitational. Like I think that it's really healthy to have a lot of high level, and I think it's really cool. I think that like Ebi and Cadril and Ludwig with Shopify Rebellion, like getting involved in esports, even if you don't have like millions of dollars to get a league spot, I think it's cool. I think that heck, Winthrop, like a college that I grew up near, has a really good esports program enough to be like in like some challengers leagues, and like that's cool. Like Maryville, I think was up there at one point. Like having the ability to compete, even if you're not the top, in the championship for the Premier League. I know that's the second one. It's weird, but like it's cool to be at a level to where you can compete. And if you're not, you'll go to potentially easier matches. If you feel like you're ready to go up, you can go up, and then you can have harder matches. Like I think that is really cool. I know that sometimes challengers, it's money locked to where teams that put up money were considered to be better, and theoretically you can pay the players more. But if you're a player with a small contract and you're playing lights out, you don't have as many opportunities in being with your team compared to a team that has already funded. And so I definitely think there's some flaws, but I do think that league is in such a healthy spot right now. I mean, the fact that it's been going on for so long and people care so much about it, there's so many players, it's so accessible. I started playing and I'm like, dude, this game is fun. Like I know people hate it, but like the game's fun, man. Like I've been playing a ton. I've been doing it alongside of other gaming challenges, streaming on Twitch, shout outs. But yeah, like the game is fun, and the storylines, like with the, I forget his name, but like the high school rival that Faker had, and like Gen G I've been following kind of loosely here and there, and like Faker has been so dominant against China, but like China being involved is really interesting. You don't see China involved in other things, like especially esports, very often. And so I think it's cool to have that involved and have other opportunities for smaller Asian countries. Flying Oyster is from Vietnam, I think, Taiwan, and some other team was Vietnam, I'm pretty sure. But like I think that's really cool, and it's crazy how America's not that good at some of these games. We're good at Melee, we're good at Call of Duty, but like besides that, the rest of the world is very impressive, and so I think that having that international competition is so cool, and I really want to keep being involved. I gotta find out what the next League of Legends thing is, because this is pretty useful where you can figure this out. So you have some stuff starting in January, here and there, but like it kind of starts off small. Mid-season Invitational is going to be middle of the year. There might be a couple independent things here and there, but I think like paying attention to how some players are able to ascend and like be a bigger deal, I think is really cool. So I want to keep keeping track of all this kind of stuff. I think it's really exciting, and especially like Smash is it's a task because there's so many characters. so many players. Like it's really hard to keep track of all these little things. Like some of these teams, it's like okay, they did like 5 games in the past couple weeks. It's not like they had entire brackets to go through. So it's like it's pretty easy to keep track of it sometimes, especially using some of these resources. Like especially like so many things are being live streamed. A 10-man local can be live streamed compared to like a regional final of some sport may not be accessible. Like high school games are usually not streamed, so if you care about it, it's too bad. Like they can be high level plays, but like the accessibility from esports in terms of watching, or like free with ads or paid with no ads, like that's a really cool system to allow it to be a lot more accessible compared to having to pay freaking $100 a month or something for sports. Like I really think that esports has so much potential, and League is free, and watching League is free, so it's like it makes so much sense why there's so much potential and growth, and so I think that League is going to be on top for esports for a while. I know CS:GO, Marvel Rivals getting up there. I feel like it's more of a lot more popular as a casual game. Esports is kind of chaotic. Rocket League's up there, fighting games, Valorant. Like there's a lot of sports that have a ton of potential to continue to grow, continue to be involved, and I definitely think, Call of Duty has a lot of momentum right now. I think that there's a lot of potential for it not to be a bubble. I think that there's some frustration based off of like, oh, it feels like the money is drying up, or the well ran dry. The venture capitalists want their money back, and we have some ethics in terms of what money we take. Some, not all, but yeah, I'm really excited to continue keeping up with other esports besides just like Smash for me. I think that it is really really cool. All this competition. Right now, like when MLB was ending and all the rest of the sports were continuing, or starting, it is so awesome. Things have calmed down a little bit, but football is in full swing. Basketball's been awesome. So many of these esports are based off of the year. So December may not be as big, but going into January is going to be crazy. So it's going to be really exciting. So yeah, I kind of just rambled on for 2 hours. Oof. But yeah, I tried it out, and yeah, let me know what you think. I'm gonna cover some other stuff like NHL, Rocket League. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. But yeah, let me know what you think. I definitely want to have some co-hosts in the future. So hey, if any of you are down to talk about sports or esports or both, let me know. So yeah, this was pretty fun. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. Yeah, see you next time.